up, everybody? Pastor Stan here again to look at some questions that you probably have had. I know I've had a lot of these, and I get a lot of questions in my line of work. Of course, I teach and teach to stimulate other questions in your minds. And so the question we're going to look at today is, do I have to go to church, Mom? Do I have to go to church? Right, that's the question, and many people ask that to me over time. And sincerely, I think most of the time people ask that question because they end up going to church and they think, whoa, these people are not like Jesus. And so I certainly have felt that. Now, as always, if you get a blessing, if you appreciate our time together, please like and subscribe. I've got my coffee. I don't know about you, but I hope you're ready to learn. We're going to talk about, do I have to go to church? Well, here's the thing. I think, at least in America, churches can be their own worst, church people can be their own worst enemy. On the one hand, they say, oh yeah, we want to grow, we want to do this, but then are not very friendly to those who are visiting. That ever happened to you? You walk into a church building, it's like they've opened up the ice box, right? They've opened up the big freezer, and this cold wind flows through. No one greets me at the door. I go and sit down, nobody's saying anything. Somebody turns around and looks at me, gives me the eye, whatever that looks like. And then I get up and leave, and no one says anything to me then either. So I'm thinking, what in the world? This is not very inviting. So I might have even joined a church and then got into the politics of the church and found people who acted more like the devil than Jesus. And I'm thinking, there must be something better than this, Lord. Oh my gosh, I can't stand these people. Show me, what am I supposed to do? Do I have to go to church? Do I have to go? Do I have to be there? Well, the short answer is no. You do not have to attend church to be saved. You don't have to. Let's look at the scripture that points this out, because you know I'm a Bible believer and everything. Chapter 2, Paul's letter to Ephesian church, Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8 and most of 9. Okay, here we go. Paul says, God saved you by his grace when you believed. God saved you by his grace when you believed, and you can't take credit for this. It is a gift from God. Salvation is not a reward for the good things we have done. Well, there you have it, right? Salvation is not a reward for the good things we have done. So church attendance, getting my name on the roll, all of those kind of things, shaking hands with the preacher, some say, that didn't save me. That didn't save me. Tithing, doing this, doing that, that's a bunch of works. Can't work my way to heaven. Paul just showed us that. We're saved by his grace. Salvation is not a reward for the things I've done. And church attendance is like that. Church attendance can be a work to so many people. Get their name on the roll, brag about where they attend church, on and on. How they're good attendance. I served in every position in the church, things I hear over and over again. Which then, if I go there, I find out I'm squeezed out of all leadership positions, and any new ideas I have, not going to accept it. And then I feel like, whoa, am I even wanted here? And I'm only wanted if I'm going to give my money and not have any new ideas or try to change the way we've always done it. So I can be very, very disillusioned. Some of you listening, I think, know what I'm talking about. I certainly have been rejected over and over again because I try to bring God's message wherever I go. And God's message is many times not well accepted. Just as Jesus was persecuted by the religious elite of his day, so it is in a denomination or in the local church. If I truly serve Jesus, I'm going to run into trouble because Jesus ran into trouble by those who think they knew better. So I'm not saved by my church attendance. That's number one. Well, is there any reason then that I should attend church, or what am I supposed to do? Okay. Well, here's what another scripture says. This is Hebrews. Now, we're not really sure who wrote this book, but it's in the Bible, so I accept it as true, and I have found it to be so in my life. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23 through 25. Here's what he says. Let us hold tightly, without wavering, to the hope we affirm, for God can be trusted to keep his promise. Let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works. And let us not neglect our meeting together, as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now that the day of his return is drawing near. So he says, let's not neglect our meeting together. Let's meet together. But did you know there are no actual church buildings in the New Testament? There was not a church building built. They met in homes. They met out in the open air, in the square, other places like that. During times of persecution, they might meet in the attic or the basement or things like that, out of sight of the authorities. But not a church building. And I got to tell you, I have found that people, they can worship the building. Oh my goodness, it's so true. They can worship the building. The building can become one of the biggest impediments to one's Christianity if I serve the building as an idol rather than the living God who gave me the funds or the materials to build the building. So what to do? Is it imperative that I attend an organized church? No. Is it imperative that I get together and fellowship with other believers? Yes. That is an imperative. So if you've had run amok in a lot of things and had some bad experiences, well, you can either find a Bible-believing church that's in line with what God's Word says and then live and be part of that, or you can meet in a home, meet in a house like they did in the New Testament. You can learn, you can have teaching, you can praise, you can get the guitar out like I like to do and sing praises to God. You can pray for each other. You can have what we might consider church right there. Now, we are the church, by the way, just in case you're wondering about that. I keep using the word church, but I'm really talking about a building sometimes and the people sometimes. But I am a part of the church. I am the church. A building is not the church. It's called a church building. It's really a meeting house. I am the church. And wherever 2 or 3 gather together, Jesus said, he will be there in the midst of them. So is it fine to attend a congregation, be a part of an organized church and religion? Sure, if that's where God leads you. Or is it okay to be a part of a home church? Absolutely, if that's where God leads you. So if you're at a church right now, you're part of, and you are so disillusioned you can't believe it. You're ready to quit altogether. My suggestion would be this. Pray and ask the Lord what he wants you to do. Where does he want you to go? Where does he want you to be a part of? Maybe a leader someplace else. Maybe have something in your own home where like-minded believers get together and study, worship, right? Pray, all of those things. See, there are plenty of options out there. But church attendance in a building like we're sitting right now or other buildings out there, that's not mandatory. I don't have to have my name on the roll to go to heaven because I'm saved by God's grace. So, if you're wondering what to do, you feel locked in, ask the Lord. He will show you the way. He will give you the answer. So, do I have to go to church? No. Do I must be together with other believers to encourage each other, pray, and worship? Yes. So that's the answer to that question. All right, look forward to seeing you next time. Pastor Stan saying, have a good week, and Lord's blessings be upon you.